I don't know how to start it.
Not so easy, is it? Hey everyone, my name's Logan.
And I'm Jen.
And this is Surprised by Marriage. Jen, what you want to talk about this week?
So there have been a few times lately where one of us is struggling a little bit, and so it's just got me thinking about how we can give our spouse the help they need in any particular time, if that makes sense.
How can we shorten that up for this topic of this video?
What does your spouse need?
Perfect! Alright, that's the topic of this week's video. What does your spouse need? Do we really ask ourselves that question a lot? Like, we often worry about what ourselves need versus what the other one needs. So that's what we want to kind of bring to light and attention today in today's video. So, what does this one need?
It's easy to be very selfish in a marriage. Oh gosh, I really struggle with that. Especially earlier on in our marriage, I got caught up thinking, he's like, yeah. It was very easy to get caught up in like what I needed, especially when we had like 3 kids, 4 and under, and obviously it's very hard and you don't have a lot of me time, and I was tired and just all the things, and it was easy to think about how I wasn't getting what I needed. But I realized that when I focused more on giving him what he needed, then he was better able to like reciprocate and give me what I need. If that makes sense. You know, filling each other's love tanks, I think.
And I feel that when she does it because, like, you know, as the man of the house, you ask for a certain amount of respect. And it's not necessarily that I was being that I would ever be disrespected, but like, it makes me feel like my role as a husband and father, as a provider for the house, is validated when those needs are all of a sudden like being met in the sense of an unexpected way. Like, because she's doing things that I'm not asking her to do or even expecting her to do.
So I just want to give a recent example of when I was really struggling. I mean, this was like literally this past week. I had a really rough day. Our toddler is just really crazy right now, into all the things and just in a really difficult phase. And I was also, this particular day, I was also just feeling very spiritually attacked.
Like the train passing by.
And I was very emotional, and it was like the perfect storm of all the things. That train, okay. And so by the time he got home and we're sitting and eating dinner and our toddler was still being crazy, I just started crying, and he just looks at me like, what's wrong? And I was like, it was a rough day or whatever. So then he was like, go ride your bike, which I love to ride my bike, but I haven't been able to do it lately because life has been crazy, and it's just really good to get out into the fresh air and, have exercise too. And so he really pushed me to go ride my bike, even though it was like 7 o'clock at night and getting close to bedtime and all that. So I went, and it was much needed, and I very much appreciated him kicking me out of the house, and that's what I needed. And I was grateful that he saw that in the moment, because it's not always easy to see that in the moment, especially if you're also struggling, So that was just a recent example that I wanted to share.
Yeah, and the reason I did it is because, like, we get caught up in saying, we might say, hey, what's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong? And the other one doesn't want to really share that. So I thought, what is something that she wants to do, that she likes to do, but doesn't usually have the time to do, which is why I offered it. And
the beautiful
I knew it was
thing
a good reset.
Yeah, and the beautiful thing is it wasn't something that I would have thought of for myself, but he, can see better from the outside sometimes.
And let's reverse the roles for a second, as it pertains to me and what she did for me. Like the other night, I was messing with something with the car, and then the car wouldn't start. And this is around 8 o'clock at night when our kids go to bed.
And this was the car that we actually just got.
Yes, so I'm trying to figure out why this car is not starting, why the battery get drained. So I was pulling my car up to try to jump it and fix out all that.
Well, I should also preface and say right before this, he had realized that our grandma dog had peed all over our living room and on the rug, and just it drives him crazy. And so he was kind of annoyed and stressed with that. And then our car wouldn't start, and
right. So as I'm doing all that and finally get that all wrapped up, I come in and she had already put all the boys to bed, including the baby, which I typically would put to bed. So I was grateful to not have to still figure out how to juggle all that, and it meant a lot. So
Yes. And we're not always good at this. we were this past week.
it's something that we're just becoming self-aware a little bit. So.
Yeah, we're becoming more aware of it and realizing how much it helps when we're focusing on what our spouse might need in any given moment. And so you might be thinking, well, Jen and Logan, that's just great, but what if we're just really in horrible places and we can't give what our spouse needs? Well, in those situations, we would say to embrace the sacraments, because God has given us these wonderful gifts in the sacraments, especially the Eucharist and reconciliation. And there is where we're going to find the graces we need. God should be the center of our marriage, and that means embracing the sacraments, especially when you're going through a difficult time.
Right.
So we hope those thoughts were helpful for y'all. We just wanted to share, because it really is the little things sometimes.
Always the little
in
things.
a marriage. Just giving what you can in any moment and turning to God in those moments where you can't.
Yep. So we hope you enjoyed this week's video. Hopefully it brought a little bit light to something that you might be struggling with. And as always, please be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and please subscribe on YouTube so you can see more of these awesome insights that we have.
Yes, and share with a friend.
Right. See you next time.
Bye.